Can you walk us through what does the typical negotiation process look like? What are the steps that you go through in negotiation? Let's say you've already met the client, you're talking with them on the first meeting. Take us from that point until the contract is signed.
Through the negotiation process, I would always advise writing about one incident. I go back to that again, but it's good. It's a good practice. If you can get their attention in writing about one incident, which would take about 2 or 3 pages, maybe 700, 1,000 words, and they like that, it's not going to take too much of your time. I would do that for free, even just to give them an idea of what, kind of like a consultation, what I'm able to deliver for them. Sometimes I charge $50, let's say, just for that. It depends on the type of client, how old they are, you have to figure out how motivated they are to get this done. You kind of have to figure out, and through the websites you can do this, you have to figure out how many people are they interviewing, how many people have they sent proposals to, or things of that nature. And so basically you want to, once you get all that and you're able to deliver what comes down to being a test incident, let's say, then if they like that and they like your style, then you got to be ready to go to the next level and say, well, let's develop this idea. This is what I'm willing to do for you in so much time. Let's say a quarter of the novel in a month and a half or a month. We're going to agree to how many words. Let's say 300 pages comes to about usually about 70 or 80,000 words, and you don't want to go too much over that unless they have a really great story. But then you've got to let them know, basically, no publishing house is going to take, unless it's outstandingly fantastic, a manuscript of over 300 pages. The typical publishing format is double space times New Roman 12, and that's how you get word count and page numbers out of that. And you want to be able to do all that and tell them and show them these are the things. And you're willing to go further, but you're going to charge more if they want to go more than that. Or if they're going to self-publish, you let them know which it's going to cost them more to self-publish it if it's going to be 400 or 500 pages. And from there, the negotiations kind of start falling into place. If they're really interested in you and you say, well, this is what I'm going to be able to deliver, the websites for freelancers will have a contract right there that you could set up with milestones where you agree on how many pages are going to be delivered, how much of the pay for the total budget are you going to get for that milestone, let's say. And you could develop it and write it out on the website and exactly as you see it, and then the client has to agree to it or not. And if they do agree to it, then you're hired and you're ready to go. The steps before all that come into where you would question how persistent are they going to be with this project? Are they going to be able to stand and do the time that they have to do to put into the project to develop it with you? If they're going to collaborate, if you need clarification on their notes, if you have questionnaires, these are all the things you've got to be able to figure out ahead of time so that you let the client know that I need you to be on top of this, and otherwise it's going to delay the timeline that we've agreed to. If I have a questionnaire, I'm going to send you about a certain part of your life that I need more clarification. Either we're going to do it on phone for an hour or two once a week, or I'm going to send you the questionnaire and I expect hopefully you'll be able to get it back to me within 3 or 4 days, something like that. Those are all the things you've got to iron out. Otherwise you get trapped in an endless barrage of missed negotiations, and then you're both wondering, where the hell are we? Why didn't we know about this ahead of time? These are all the things you've got to become astute at doing with your clients so that they know you know what you're doing.
What are the major problems that you can solve for somebody that if they did mentoring with you, what's the major problems that you would be able to get rid of them in say an hour meeting?
For someone who's trying to become a ghostwriter, or for a client that wants something written?
Let's say somebody who's trying to become a ghostwriter. If somebody wanted to sit down with you for an hour, what kind of problems in their life would you address with them and be able to resolve?
Okay, so for an hour session for something like that, I would, if they listen to this podcast, which I'd recommend, all of these questions that you've brought up and some of the responses that I've given would be a great place to start, um, because it addresses really everything that they're going to have to look at knowing to be able to deliver to their clients, even through the negotiation process. So I think for people that are coming into this really wanting to become a ghostwriter and learning how to do it right, they have to be sure of their own writing, first of all, but then they have to learn all the negotiations. So my job as their um, as their teacher or instructor is to make sure they have the skills, and that they're comfortable with their writing style, but then also give them everything that I'm trying to give you in this podcast, but also develop each of those ideas and give them the information, give them the notes so that they can start organizing it and see it for themselves.